let me back up on this because I have a candidate for state senate on the line, and we're going to get Chris in here before, at some point, if not before the end of June, then certainly within July, because he's running against Farrell Hale. And Farrell Hale was one of the sponsors of SB 126. And I mentioned SB 126 with Jack Johnson, and I assume that's why Chris Spencer is calling me, because Jack defends Farrell on this. Now, I'm not necessarily taking sides. I just want to get to the truth on it. And Chris Spencer has made the point to say that, well, I'll let him speak for himself, but for those just catching up with this, Hale was one of the sponsors of 126. 126 was passed, I want to say it was signed into law in May of 2021. Now, this is 6 months before I got to town, so I can't really speak. I can't speak to the motivations of the people involved in it, except to trust people that talk to me about these things. And some suggest that Farrell Hale's motivation was to do something to prevent prepubescent puberty blockers from being used, and it seems like an oxymoron. Now, I've read enough to know that gay rights organizations didn't like this legislation, but they also didn't think it would do very much. And it was also obviously not worthy because they still conducted these types of things at Vanderbilt Medical Center anyway, and absolutely legally did so, because the SB 126 did not go far enough into the age of the child. That's what SB 1 had to repair. So I just want to lay that groundwork. So the Chris Spencer, they are campaigning in part, discussing with the people of Farrell Hale's district and Chris Spencer's district in the state Senate about what his motivations might have been. And I try to lay that groundwork to welcome Chris Spencer into the show. Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm great, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, good to talk to you again.
Yeah, I actually didn't get to hear Jack speak because I was actually door knocking, and I'm getting text messages. You got to call in. So I'm calling in.
Well, Jack, I asked him about 126, and I asked him the question that some are suggesting that Farrell, was acting in a dishonest way when 126 was passed, and many of the members of the body obviously voted for it. Hindsight is clear that it did not, even if you don't suggest that the motivations were off kilter, it didn't do the job, and they had to go back and they had to repair the job with Senate Bill 1. Let me ask you this, and we'll start here, and I'll let you reflect on 126. Are you satisfied that SB 1 goes far enough? Are you satisfied that the laws that are being challenged at the United States Supreme Court level that were passed in the state of Tennessee, are you satisfied with those, Chris?
Of course, and that's what should have happened in 2019 when some parents from Sumner County came to Senator Hale and asked him to take on the bill that Kay Ivey from Alabama was passing in Alabama, and he said he would do that. So as far as Senate Bill 126, Janice Bowling also had a bill in 2021 that made it very, very difficult for anybody under the age of 18 to be able to take puberty blockers for gender dysphoria, and that was blocked. And then, but basically, we put out the video of the debate from Farrell Hale and also from Dr. Kumar from the House, and it's clear. Senator Hale basically says, we are codifying, meaning we are going to make this law of what was going on at Vanderbilt Hospital. They were protecting Vanderbilt Hospital. That's what Senator Hale said. He used the word codify and told Vanderbilt Hospital, we're going to allow you to keep doing what you're doing. And that's why he put in the language of Tanner Stage 1, meaning that you couldn't give puberty blockers for anyone in Tanner Stage 1 for gender dysphoria, which is for a girl as young as 7 and for a boy 9 or 10 years old. And so that is what the law did. That's what they allowed Vanderbilt to continue and codified it. And that's what was going on. And even, in fact, Janice Bowling in 2022 put forth another bill in 2022 to stop all puberty blockers for gender dysphoria from anyone 18 and under. And it was blocked in the Health Committee and kept alive another year by Senator Hale. And it was only because of Matt Walsh. He was the only reason that the Republican Senate decided to do something else, and that's what Jack Johnson did with Senate Bill 1. Now, that's great. Senate Bill 1 is great, I don't know why they just couldn't admit that they made a mistake in 2021 and just quit running from this and keeping this in the eye of the public. All they had to do was apologize. We were wrong.
Well, here's what I mean. If the facts as I understand them are correct, and I don't doubt some of the motivations from some of these players. I don't know Farrell Hale, and I've tried to call him, and I can't get him on the line. But hopefully we'll have him on before the primary election so he can speak for himself. That said, what amazes me is that enough people, like you just said, Chris, aren't willing to say, look, we had no idea this was going on at Vanderbilt. We had no idea that it was happening as we were passing some of this legislation. And obviously, had we known that, we would have done something differently, but we didn't. We're sorry, and we've corrected it. That's all you have to do.
Yep. But to blame me and to disperse me and call me a liar, for what? I was just bringing out the facts. It's not just that. I talked to senators. Senator Janice Bowling actually wrote a letter for me in support of everything that I was saying was true and factual about this bill. And so for anybody to say that I'm lying about this, we put the videos out on our Facebook for them to watch Farrell Hales and Dr. Kumar in their own words talk about during this.
All right, let's listen to it together. I've got it pulled up thanks to our friends from the Tennessee Conservative News. They had it on their website. Let's listen. This is Senator Farrell Hale during the process of debating SB 126. Give me some... I'm going to need some audio there, Mason. Thank you. And here we go.
Move Senate Bill 126 on third and final consideration with the purpose of bringing up the amendment that makes the bill. Any hormone treatment of gender dysphoria of children prior to puberty. What we're doing here is the current practice of medicine indicates that hormone treatment for gender dysphoria is not starting until after puberty begins. So this amendment simply ensures that this remains the case. This means anyone currently in Tanner 1 state which has not entered puberty. This just codifies what the medical folks say is already the standard of practice.
So he said it codifies what the medical folks say is already the standard of practice. This was in 2021, I think, when this was being debated. So I would assume, and I don't, it's dangerous to do, but I would assume that the people he's talking about were already engaged in this practice that none of us knew about until a year or so later when Matt Walsh uncovered it.
That's correct. And you just listen to his same words. He was protecting what Vanderbilt was currently doing, and he codified it, meaning made it law.
Well,
they made it law, and that's what Vanderbilt came out and said, look, guys, we're only following the law of the state of Tennessee.
Well, I don't know Hale, but I'm trying to figure out a way to give him the benefit of the doubt. I know you've done enough research, Chris, and you're running against him, and you feel like he knew what he was doing, right?
I do feel like he knew what he's doing because he blocked it in 2022 when Janice Bowling tried to get to repeal it. Why would you block something that Janice was trying to repeal and do basically what Johnson's bill in won? Why would he block that and allow another year of this tragedy to be put on our children in Tennessee? I mean, so that shows intent for me. I'm sorry, but that shows intent. And only because of Matt Walsh did he decide to jump on board with Senator Johnson's bill. I mean, those are the facts.
Well,
I don't know why they're running for it.
Well, I'm glad you called. I'm glad you presented your side of it. I hope that I can get the senator's side of it. And I just want everybody to know, Chris has been available to me anytime that I've wanted to talk about this or any other issue involving that race. Senator Farrell Hale is welcome at any time he wants to come on this show and to answer to this quote of his and to answer some of these other accusations, and I'm willing to listen to his side of the story. I just want to make sure everybody knows that, and Chris knows that. And Chris, you've made yourself available for any conversation between the two of you. Am I not correct?
Oh, yeah, I want to debate. I've been begging for a debate for I go on the enemy's radio stations that are against me, but I still go on their show. I do.
Well, I appreciate your availability. I appreciate you getting the message out, and I thank you for stopping by. Now, as far as SB 1 going before the Supreme Court, it seems a no-brainer to me, Chris, especially with this court and Dobbs v. Jackson. And, you know, I know some of us who are against abortion would love to see no abortions across the United States of America. That said, Dobbs throws it back to the states. It feels like consistency, you know, being the court's mantra. I mean, I would hope that they wouldn't do anything with this bill or this law, that is.
I mean, we have a conservative court. That's why we got the Dodd case and we got Roe overturned. And honestly, this is why we should be having more action on illegal immigration as well, because we have a conservative Supreme Court, and we've done nothing on illegal immigration in 12 years. So that was the other reason I'm running. But yes, I think they will uphold this for 100%. We don't let these kids get driver's license until they're 16. You know, I mean, it just makes perfect sense.
Well, and the only argument that the other side, sadly, the gender mutilators, I'll call them, their only argument is, well, you're interfering with a parental right to make these decisions for their own family. Well, we do the same thing when it comes to alcohol use. We do the same thing with tattoos. We do the same thing with a lot of different things that young people might come to regret later on in life or could have health consequences, and we're going to do it here too. Chris, we'll have you on very soon. I'll give you a call, and we'll talk about getting you in the studio, okay?
Well, thank you so much for letting me be on.